Yeah.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to The Boys Season 3 review. This is Episode 6, the highly anticipated, highly sought after things I've heard about since Season 1, the Herogasm episode. I am the upgrade, Trasnell, and I'm joined by...
The love sausage, Jessica. I forgot I was going to change my name. I was like, I just need to put something so I can join in, and then I didn't change it, so I guess I'll just continue to be the love sausage.
There you go.
I'm the yummy brown bear, Taylor Field.
The yummy brown bear. Yeah, I imagine if you must know if you're listening to this episode, but it's like if you hear the nicknames, like what the fuck's going on? But yeah, this is The Boys. We have reviewed past few weeks now, and we're getting into. We got 2 episodes left already. It's crazy, but got some big stuff going on. Me and Taylor just did the Black Phone review. There's newscasts. There's the finale Obi-Wan we did this week. There'll be an After 9 dropping next week. The recording that goes live tomorrow for the patrons, but by the time you're listening to this, it'll probably already be over. And then Miss Marvel, so lots of things. Taylor, where can they find all that stuff? You smash avocado, living fool.
Oh, yeah.
I'll have to bring that up
Avocado.
on After 9 tomorrow.
I'd be curious to hear what everyone else is on that front. Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us with your internet connection in the search bar. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerse our Twitter, and GeekVerse on our Facebook.
There you go. And as usual, everything is in the link below. How to find our feeds, our audio, our video, or subscribe, rate, review, all that good jazz. And you can do just like what Josh Wright did. He hasn't done it yet, but he joined the highest tier, which is the Patreon producer tier. So next week, Joshua, I'm going to add to this banner. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. Thank you to the April Darkness, Aaron Braden, Carl Ritchie, and Smalley Biggs. But the reason I'm pimping out Joshua, because if people don't know, you join the highest tier, not only a Patreon producer, but also you get to pick a movie. So he says he's thinking hard, and like I said, I'm excited to see what he's going to pick for us retrospective. So big thank you to them, and a big thank you to all our other patrons as well. You guys literally keep the show going, but you keep it going even more so as far as like a couple times 2 casts a day and stuff like that.
Keep
you
the power bills paid.
Yeah, you pay the little extra power bills. You know, you got the little shack outside important storing our bonus episodes and stuff like that. So we couldn't do without any of you, and thank you to listeners and everybody. Yeah, let's get into this. Taylor Field, what did you think of episode 5 season 3 Herogasm from The Boys?
Well, I was gonna watch it today after work, but like last night, like I was up late podcasting. We were doing Black Phone reviews and Cryptic Clues, and I happened to graze on YouTube to upload some Cryptic Clues stuff. I thought, holy shit, there's all of these scenes already put up for the episode already. This is insane. So I thought, okay, I'm not gonna take the chance. I am going to watch it now at like 1 a.m. and I did, and I wasn't even tired. The show had me laughing and just on like. I don't know. I was just like in disbelief what was going on. There's so much just like funny, fucked up stuff and just great moments. But then there were some really powerful moments too that were really just, I don't want to say emotional, but very character developed. And I really liked that. Some nice surprises that I wasn't anticipating right away, and some things that just made me think like, holy shit, like this is good shit. So
Holy shit, this is good shit.
Very, very, very good episode.
Jessica.
This episode is probably one of, if not the best so far in this show. I had a great time watching it. There are obviously some questions and some things I don't know if I'd say I have problems with, but I almost expected more, just kind of based on the hype, just to kind of put it that way. Overall, though, I had a great time watching it. I actually went and watched it again earlier today, which, as you guys know me, I don't usually finish things, let alone watch things twice. So, yeah, I'm super excited to talk about it. Super happy that this isn't even the finale. Like, it just feels like a finale episode. But, yeah, this is kind of one of those episodes where it's like, you talk to people that you haven't talked to in a long time. Just be like, hey, have you seen this show yet? Because I need to talk to someone. Not Grandpa.
Do you watch Herogasm episode of The Boys? Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
So, yeah. What about you, Travis?
Yeah, no, I echo the same sentiments as far as it feels like this could have been a finale episode, which makes me really interested to see. We got 2 more left, so it's going to ratchet up even more. But yeah, I think it's one of those perfect finale. It reminds me of like when Game of Thrones was at its height or Breaking Bad, when it's like you have all these storylines coming together in unison in this one moment, and it all makes sense. It all works. All people are there for different reasons, but then also the same reasons, and everyone has like that's the best thing when you have a show and you have like what 5 to 7 different characters, but you all know their motivations really clear. You know, you don't have any like, oh, why are they here? Why are they doing this? And it just, or like something like obviously it's more the movie size, but it's like Lord of the Rings when all those storylines come together, different members of Fellowship. It's just, it's fantastic. This show is just it somehow just keeps getting better and better. And this is one of those best episodes because it does have everything that The Boys represents. As you got your comedy, you have your raunchiness, you have your sexualness amped up to like the thousands degree in this episode, obviously, but it just the last 20 minutes of this is a home run. And yeah, I can't wait. I think again this show always excels at the shades of gray sort of area, and that's where we are right now because there's multiple characters that I like and still rooting for, but at the same time like, man, I don't really agree with much of the decisions you're doing here. And even characters that before were maybe lower, I'm like, okay, now I'm kind of following them and I'm rooting for them. And yeah, it definitely, at least too, it ends in a way where it feels like stakes have been risen, and that's always a good thing. And I think the show always does that, even in like little routes. Like there'll be like a little reveal, and you go, "Oh man, what's gonna be next?" But this felt like it had multiple big gunshots. Like, okay, what's gonna happen next with these characters? And I just predicted a lot of bad stuff. Already bad stuff happened in this episode, and this show already has had bad things, but it does remind me a lot of Game of Thrones in that sense of that dread you would get sometimes when something would happen. You go, oh, it's not gonna end well for a lot of people, and that's the route we are now. I'm predicting, we'll get in the spoilers, that we're gonna have probably, I think we're gonna have a really sad or bad, like bad as far as bad things happening finale, not bad quality, just because I don't know, a lot of characters are on some really dark paths. So I liked pretty much almost everything. I guess my only non-spoilers thing I'll say that I didn't not like. Again, it's still fine. It's just like the French and Kamiko stuff I like just enough. I not that I tune out, but I don't care too much about it. It's not bad. I would never say that where it's like, oh, it's badly written or badly acted. No, they're doing fine, and I think it's working out. That even had some good moments there. But anytime we're on, then I'm kind of like, let's get back to almost anyone else in the show. Like I'd rather be seeing what Ashley's doing over those two, just because they just feel so. That's the only pairing where they feel so separate from everything else that's going on. And I think that's kind of hurting their storyline a bit for me personally. Like I said, I don't think it's a bad thing, but everything else was like a top tier 10 out of 10 stuff. So and I think that I'd heard, like I said, I talked about this a long time. I don't know if he's listening. He was a GeekVerse listener for a while, and then he deleted his Twitter. Marvel Zombie Dude, he was the guy that told me when The Boys were having, like, man, you haven't seen anything, like wait till The Boys becomes on TV. And he was a huge fan, prepped me about this, and whether it was him and other people, I'd always heard the word like Herogasm. I knew that was happening. The creators talk about, oh, I can't wait to get to Herogasm, and I don't think it disappointed. Now I don't think it has the shock value because they did build up so much, so I knew we were gonna see shocking shit. But it's just one of those things of like, if you just watch the scene and you just pause a frame, there's just so much wild stuff going on. Herogasm, exactly what you think. And it's just like, whether it's the comic books or the people that create like this show, they just find a way that I don't know if we're ever gonna get past. Like, this is the craziest shit that's kind of happened so far. I still think the episode 1 thing was probably crazier, what happened with the little man and the little unit and stuff. Like, I don't think you can ever top that in The Boys again, because that was just wild. But this was a really great set piece. So anything else non-spoilers? All right, we're going to take our first ad break, and then we'll be right back. So if you've not seen The Boys, definitely go check it out, and we're going to spoil shit of it. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So I want to start with you guys. I'm actually just looking at my notes, and I just wanted to start with this. Did you guys know? So at the beginning of the show, it opens up with the Deep, and he has his phone, and they're singing to it. Do you guys know that's parroting? Because I don't know if Taylor even know. Okay, you do know. Okay,
oh,
Jessica, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I wasn't sure because I just feel like, because I know it was a big thing on Twitter, and you guys, like, Jessica not as much, Taylor, you dabble in it, but man, right when they start with that, and that's where I knew I did think the whole episode was going to be about the orgy. I really did. I thought that was going to be, because they kept promoting it as like Herogasm. That's really just like the backdrop until the ending. But when it started that again, talking about like the fourth wall meta stuff, it felt like they were just firing on all cylinders here. And again, because they're using Soldier Boy, it's kind of like a COVID thing of like stay in your house, like be scared and stuff like that. And the fact that the Deep, and they had all these celebrities doing the Imagine video. And, oh my God. Like I know Gal Gadot has like said it was a bad idea, but I wonder like that shit's never going to fall. Even because when Jessica came on StreamYards, that's what I was watching again, was the original video. And I just remember that came out how tone deaf it was. And when you search Gal Gadot on YouTube, the first thing that comes up is Gal Gadot Imagine. And I love that they did it. And they're just so on the ball with that stuff. So right away, the opening was just chef's kiss. So
The freaking Black Noir just holding up his sign.
That's where I broke down. It just fucking got me.
Yeah. Well, you're kind of singing along, and then all of a sudden it's just a sign. It's just takes you out of it so much. I lost it.
yeah. Go ahead.
I was taken aback by it because again, leading up to this episode and a few of the other episodes, I've been watching like the publicity videos. They put out like Crimson Countess's music video with the apes and stuff, which just fucking cracks me up. And he's throwing the banana and just the apes moving, and she's like pounding her chest. It's so fucked.
And that's why they're so good at that stuff, because I remember when we watched Miss Marvel and she has her YouTube channel, and we were mad that Marvel didn't like make a fake YouTube channel for her. The Boys is always on top of that shit. Like their Twitter game's on fire. They're like, because their Twitter account's like in the show account, and it's so good.
Well, even like that site with the soup stuff that I sent you guys, things like that too, right?
Yeah.
Just all the little extras.
Yeah, it's good viral marketing.
Yeah, that video just, I was cracking up laughing. And yeah, just Black Noir at the end. Fuck, Black Noir just continues to always be like probably my favorite thing in this show. He's just he's just so like unpredictable and full of surprises, and he's never disappointed since I've seen him in like the first season. Like he's just so good.
I won't go as far as to say he's one of my favorite aspects of the show in like a minor way. I wouldn't put him as tip top as you. For me, it's still Homelander because he's such an interesting character. But yeah, like I want to start with him, and let's kind of start in the beginning. But you have this idea of, okay, so Billy Butcher, and then Huey, they say, okay, like we're gonna help you find payback if you help us kill Homelander. They strike up the deal, and man, I just love the rising action of like Homelander's freaking out. They're talking about what to do, and he's like, oh man, Black Noir, I'm so glad you're with me. I'm so glad you're here for me with all this. And the second Black Noir like figures out like fuck, like Soldier Boy's gonna kill us all, just goes in the elevator, cuts his tracker, gives this woman, and he's gone. He's gone. You never see him again in this episode. I know we're going to, and I wonder, Taylor, the fate of your favorite character might not be too much longer in this world, because Soldier Boy seems to take out everybody. It won't be good for you though. Do you want to lose Black Noir? Because that's a very possibility.
I think he's either going to be very loyal, or he will be proven to be the guy that kind of engineered it. I'm curious to see how they play it off. Just to like touch upon that one scene before we move too far, when he is in that elevator, and it's just like, it's so unpredictable. You don't know what's going on. Like, okay, the atmosphere's changed, and he just goes in, and this poor woman, he just fucking cuts into his wrist in the blood.
Hands it to her.
Fuck, yeah. Fuck, that cracks me up. God damn, it's the innocent humor aspect too. Like, it's just fucked.
And at first I wasn't sure in that moment. It's like, okay, is he taking it out because he wants to, is he going to betray Homelander, just go back to Soldier Boy? And then we're like, oh no, he's gone. It's like, oh no, he's out of there. He's done, because, obviously Crimson got killed last week. This week's about killing the twins and everything. And it was interesting because we talked about that dynamic of when he sees Soldier Boy, what's going to happen? Would he team back up, or is he going to stay with Homelander? And he's done the opposite. I think we will see him again, but the only thing is there is only 2 episodes, because I could see if Soldier Boy lasts, which I think he's going to at least one more season. I could see Black Noir not being dealt with till next season. Like he's just on the run, like hiding and stuff. And it's kind of interesting as well, because Black Noir so far has just been this complete badass who hasn't really strayed from anything other than having a nut allergy. But he's pretty frightened of Soldier Boy, it seems, because he got the fuck out of there real quick. Didn't even like, he got on that elevator and he was gone. So
you know anything about Soldier Boy, Black Noir? Oh, I'm glad I have you.
Yeah.
It doesn't say anything. Yeah, fuck.
He had nothing to say,
Yeah.
So let's see here. So we got where are we gonna go now with Huey and Billy or Starlight and everything like that? Does anyone have any place they want to jump out specifically?
So just, I'm going to go ahead and throw this out because you mentioned it in the non-spoiler. In the beginning, Kimiko and Frenchie were actually, like, I enjoyed seeing them. I really liked them together. I liked Kimiko. I was always, happy that Frenchie's character kind of changed and evolved with her. But now I agree. I'm like, what are you guys doing? You got your own different storyline. And this really was more of just the same of that. And especially for such a big episode, I know it was supposed to be, this moment where he had to choose between his old love and his new love. And, Kimiko realizing that that's her, she's the monster and all this. But it was really just like, get back to what was happening. I don't care right now. There's so much other things going on that this is just not important.
Yeah, and I agree because, like I said, I don't think it's bad. It's just like it goes down the level where I don't have much interest. I think they will get me there eventually, but I just really don't care. Like if they one of them unfortunately were to get killed off, I would be sad because I like the characters enough. But if it was the ending of the storyline, it wouldn't really affect me too much. Okay, one of them will jump back with the boys and we'll be okay. Are you on the same spot of us, Taylor?
I actually don't mind it at all. Like when I say I don't mind it, like it happens and I don't mind it, but it's not a takeaway or like, oh, I don't want to, like, I'm pressing to get back to other stuff. It's just another story that's just I get to experience and see. And when Kimiko kissed Frenchie, I actually really liked that because I always thought like, oh, like they're such good friends and they really get along with each other and they have such a powerful bond. So seeing this finally happen, I really like. And the dilemma of Kimiko feeling like this monster, I don't know why, but I actually do like that kind of exploration into that storyline. And just she's finally human, but she's still a monster, and just her overcoming that. And yeah, definitely I think I'm more on the positive end of it.
Well, I want to talk about then the other couple. So we talked about Starlight and Huey last week about like where their status was and they're fighting everything. Like, was it going to be just a little thing or last for a bit? I think now, obviously, it seems like they're broken up, but I think this is actually going to last for like at least a season now, to be honest. Like I think there's always going to be like that back and forth between the two, but now we got our first look at Huey where he was bleeding from his ears this episode, so we're starting to maybe see some residual effects of V.
Was that blood? I just thought it was like a green goop or something.
Whatever it is not good. Whatever it is, I thought it was blood, but maybe I was wrong. It was. I've been saying thing as you too. I watched it quite late and I didn't watch it twice, so I'm not sure if that was the case. But yeah, you got that going on. But yeah, the big thing was that they had this kind of breakdown. I just love that anytime he teleports, he's just nude, and like we're gonna get to Herogasm scene, talk about everything there, but when he just teleports in there, he fits right in, so that's good. And then when he teleports Starlight out, like they're just naked fighting like in some driveway and stuff like that, and he admits that her being a soup has always bugged her, not in the way that it bugs Butcher, but just in the way that he feels like he can never be on her level or save her and stuff. And again, last week he decided not to go with her, and then this week he like had like a redo, like he had a second chance at it to like pick and stay. It's like she almost gave him like, hey, you got one more shot, and that didn't happen. And now they're on very much different paths because Butcher and Huey are with Soldier Boy, who's just like killing people left, right, and center that he chooses to or not chooses to. And then you got Starlight, which we'll talk about probably after this, is like a big, reveal of her character and her motivations. But what do you guys think? Like, I don't even know if Huey and Starlight are going to interact for the rest of the season. Like, I could see maybe a little bit, but I could see them being separated because with there only being 2 episodes, they might not even bump into each other again this year.
So there was a Reddit thread that I was reading that actually brought up a good point that right now we're kind of seeing that, Huey is not necessarily a good guy. Before, here, I'm going to find out what the wording that they used because it was actually a good one.
Which I don't know if I fully subscribe to. I don't think it's not that he's a good guy. I think he's just very desperate, in my opinion, when I read the character. I think he would, if none of this stuff was going on, he would be a good person, but because he's been put in this situation, I think he's kind of changing. It's like a Walter White thing where it's like if Walter White never gets cancer, he maybe never becomes this like drug lord known as Heisenberg, right?
So I mean, that is pretty much what this person said. The lack of opportunity to be bad aren't the same as being a good person. So what you're saying is that he still would be a good person, but I mean, obviously he wasn't a good person if this is how he's turning and going into, betraying Starlight and, the sucker punch to A-Train, even after he like
Well,
sincerely apologized.
I guess I'm not gonna give him much on A Train because A Train fucking like I'm not gonna hold anyone accountable for punching A Train. Like he apologized, but like this should have come like 3 years ago, man. Like this is a long time, everything, and like I think it's also just because at the same point, it's not necessarily him being bad. It's like when you talk about protecting Starlight, it's the first time he could do anything. So to me, in my opinion, years ago, Huey would have punched A Train after this, but he couldn't because he wasn't a soup and he would just get fucked up or he wouldn't have the power. So this is kind of like an almost a retrospective punch of like, man, I want to do this 2 years ago and here it was. So I think there's definitely some things that are questionable, like the fact they still run with Soldier Boy and Butcher. Butcher's been long gone for a while because, like I said, Butcher's been on a bad path for a while. He's just Homelander on like the good side, but I do think Huey will turn the corner. I do believe the character though that he is doing it because he thinks it's the best way to protect Starlight. He's just so obsessed with killing Homelander that I think it's changed him, and I do think he will turn the corner again. I don't think he's going to get as bad as Butcher. I know he's kind of that right now, but I don't think he'll stay. He'll have a moment where he might snap out of it again.
I don't know. Do you think Huey is the most expendable kind of main character between, Homelander, Butcher, Soldier Boy? Because, he's not in any of, when you think of the boys, it's usually either Homelander or Butcher. That's kind of the main poster child for the show. I mean, maybe Huey is the one that severely goes off the deep end. And
he is, but I think Huey is kind of like, yeah, right now he's in a bad spot, but I think he's kind of the heart of the show because he was our gateway in there and he's the everyday guy, right? He's the guy who you could represent with. He's the guy that, okay, he just had a regular job, had a girlfriend, he's in this weird world, he got brought into the same thing of like season 1. Like if you look at our culture right now, we love superheroes, we love Batman, we love Spider-Man, but this is like Huey is that character and then finding out that all those heroes are pieces of shit and they're bad people. So I don't think so. I really don't. I'm not saying Huey's off the table of dying eventually, but I really don't. I think that would be more of an end game thing. I honestly think that Homelander would die before Huey, to be honest, or very close together. And Soldier Boy, I just don't think any of those main players are dying right now. I think Soldier Boy will die before Huey, but again, I feel like that's more next season. I think Starlight and him still have some more resolution. I actually think they'll get back together at some point too, eventually. But no, I don't think Huey's going. At least right now, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna pass yet.
He's
I
gonna
think
pass.
He's gonna pass.
That'd be a nice. Yeah, I don't think anyone passes away in this show.
Yeah, there's still a lot that they got to cover with his storyline and everything like that. So I think more things to wrap up. Whereas with other characters, I feel like we're nearing a more concluded point in their stories sooner than we are with Huey, I guess you could say. And Soldier Boy for sure, I feel like will go before he does.
I think if anyone goes like out of those people, and I still think there's still more time, but I think Starlight unfortunately has more of a chance going than
I thought that
Huey.
after this episode too. I started to feel
and
it.
what I do think though, what's going to happen though, is I actually don't think Starlight will go right away. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't read the comic books, so I don't know if this happens. I don't even know if this storyline happens in comic books. I don't want to read them or look into them because I don't want to be spoiled. But I imagine Starlight's mom is completely fucked. Like I don't think there's any chance she's making it out of this season because he threatened her, like the people she loves. Right? Huey's on the run, so like he might not be able to be found. Starlight's gonna be posting these videos and saying these things, and I know the immediate jump is that's why I don't even think she'll die this season. You could think like, oh, Homelander's gonna kill her right away. Homelander's not going to kill her if he can't find her, right? And I do think she's going to be on the run, making videos, getting the message out there and everything. But I don't think she can protect her mom, I think there's a good chance Annie's mom is a goner coming up.
Just the most logical choice too, because I mean, as far as Homelander's concerned, I think Homelander, like, I actually felt like he was scared in this episode. Like he was frightened to a degree, and he can't do anything about Huey because Huey's one of the 3 holding him down, so he obviously knows he can't touch Huey right now because Soldier Boy's their butchers full on like an equivalent now, so he's untouchable. And now when you look at Starlight, is he gonna think, well, maybe Starlight's hanging with Huey and so I can't touch her either, so I gotta really just, how am I gonna get to them? I'll get to like the weaker components, the weaker people of this. But is it gonna be Homelander that'll go for Starlight, or is it gonna be Congressman, I can't remember her name,
No, I don't think so, because I think they showed that she could have killed her in that moment if she wanted, because she started to do the head pop in her nose. But now,
but you don't think this would like prompt that now?
No,
that she's like coming clean.
because she's coming clean, but she didn't come clean about her in this video, if I remember right. She didn't say anything about the senator popping people's head. She talked about Vought. She talked about not Ashley, but just the idea of Vought, the CEO, and like running things. They talked about Homelander. They talked about Soldier Boy being the villain. So she didn't throw her out. So I think they both viewed that way. If I liked that scene with Annie of, because almost each season some character comes to her like, oh, we have a secret way we can do this, and she's just kind of like over the shit, like, no, let's just actually do it, find a way just to get done with it all. So I think they both maybe feel there's a use for one another in the long run. Maybe they will fight at some point, but I still think they're not too much on the enemy territory yet. You know, I feel like the senator feels like she has some use for Annie, and potentially vice versa. And yeah, it's gonna be interesting what happens with this outing to see. And I love that her and Marv are like this little team. Like they've both been like shat on by their people that they trusted the most with Butcher and Huey. And I like that they're palling around and just trying their best to bring down these soups like the kind of the right way. And yeah, it's interesting. You brought him up. I want to talk about Homelander. So it's funny. I love Homelander so much. We got so much stuff with him in this. But I want to talk about, you brought up the fight about, oh, he's a little scared. First of all, great reactions of like he made that deal with Butcher and then he's like, oh, the deal's off. And he thought he killed him. He just like laser eyed him. And then when he got up, his reaction to both Huey and Butcher having the powers was great. Like especially when Huey just popped up naked. Like, man, Anthony Starr might be a fucking asshole in real life who gets arrested in bars yelling at people. But like, separate the art from the artist. The performance here is fantastic, and all that stuff's good. And man, that's why it's my nickname. I love when he's like, "Oh, Soldier Boy's like, oh, look at the cape," and he's like, "You're just like the new me" or something. He's like, "No, I'm the fucking upgrade." And that's a good thing. Where he was a little scared, but at the same time, I think this episode was good because it showed that Soldier Boy and a like V'd up Huey and Butcher still couldn't take out Homelander. And even in the moment where Soldier Boy and Homelander were going toe to toe for like 30 seconds, and that's where Homelander seemed like, oh, you had me worried there for a second, but then Homelander like kind of figured Soldier Boy out and he was fucking him up. Like it took those three to take Homelander down, and he still got away. They still couldn't take him out, and that's what is, again, I think was really good, because they keep talking about this whole season like, we're gonna need like 7 of us to try get a shot at him, and this was good because it's showing Soldier Boy, who's supposed to be the equivalent, and you can go to like, yeah, Soldier Boy's having some mental stuff going on, but so is Homelander, because he's talking to himself in the fucking mirror. And just like I think Ashley's gonna die, I think there's or not Ashley, Annie's mom, I feel like we're gonna, I don't know, I could be wrong, I just feel like we're gonna have to get the snap at the end of the season, because I just feel like he's getting too close. He's too close to the edge. He's talking to himself. I love that scene of the talk show when Annie sits down. He's like, "Oh, thank God you're here." But like, he's not even in reality anymore. Like he's saying that like that's like Stormfront, but it's like, no, she doesn't care at all about you, dude. Like she doesn't like you. She doesn't agree with you. But it's like he has no concept of right or wrong anymore. What's real, what's not. So I thought they might hold off till next season. Especially now we got the video too of outing Homelander and saying all this stuff. So I feel like Homelander Snap Watch is going to happen in these next 2 episodes. But all great content and stuff with Homelander. Fantastic.
Part of that fight, though, just talking about taking all 3 of them, you have to consider, though, there was just seconds before Soldier Boy had already had an explosion, right? Mm-hmm. So had he not used all his powers just seconds ago and been able to actually...
Needs a little time to reload the cannon,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
His asshole was on fire. He just needed to give it a little breather.
Exactly. Yeah. Man, poor Huey. But yeah, and that's will be interesting to see though. Like it was the powering up, but that's where still the hand-to-hand combat though. Homelander took him out because Soldier Boy can't fucking fly. Like Homelander still has all these like tricks that Soldier Boy, like, yeah, he has this heavy shield, but it's like still like Homelander's just like he's the Superman. But so what do you think about Homelander and all that stuff we talked about today in this episode?
Well, it makes me wonder, like, again, I get all the heroes are terrified of him and afraid, but if every hero at Herogasm were to team up against Homelander, I feel like the majority of them could probably fucking take him down and actually do it, because I mean you have 3 here that, again, 2 of them had very good power sets, but they still managed to do it. And I was really surprised, because I didn't think we would get this fight between Soldier Boy and Homelander right now, let alone the fight with Butcher and Homelander. So 2 of them, and then Huey was just an extra plus. But yeah, I think it was great. I like seeing like the trigger, like freight car, the Winter Soldier stuff that's like activating him, I guess. And when that pops off, and I think you're right, Jessica, he's just down a count. Like he just needs to recharge a little bit. So that whole fight was just incredible, and it just had me really, really intense, like intensity up, anxiety, and seeing, you're right, Travis, the reactions and the facial things, like when he calls out Butcher, like, what have you done? Like he's not just like taken aback, but he's inquisitive, like, okay, like what did you do? Like, this is interesting. I want to know. And yeah, it really sets it up for what's to come in the penultimate episode next. And what feels like a penultimate episode being not that is just absolutely fantastic.
Well, yeah, like you said, I was kind of surprised we did get the fight because I thought they would have saved that, and just even both fights of Butcher and Soldier Boy, but also Soldier Boy and Homelander, but also Homelander and Butcher. I thought they might save that for a little bit longer because same thing as Huey with Annie Train, and that's why I'm fine with that one because it's Butcher finally being able to, even if he can't beat Homelander, just be able to fucking punch the guy, do anything that might hurt him a little bit, even if it's just like a sprain in Homelander's arm, like he can actually do something, and that was so satisfying. And that's where I know they kept saying Homelander's on the way, but I thought they were gonna do that thing where like, oh, they just miss each other or something like that, like something was gonna get in the way. But no, they just walk in that hall and you see Soldier Boy and Homelander just standing 5 feet from each other, like, oh my god, what is gonna happen here? And now I just can't wait to see, like, obviously Homelander went back to his base, but I literally can't wait to see what his next move is, because Annie's gonna be posting stuff left, right, and center. Like, she took that picture of Deep for a reason, so I feel like almost every day she's gonna like tell a story or something. She's gonna be, like I said, I think she's gonna be on the run. That actually probably is what next episode's gonna be, in my opinion. I think it's gonna be Homelander, like the main story, him trying to find Annie to shut this all stuff down, and maybe that's where Annie's mom comes in. Maybe he's gonna kidnap Annie's mom and be like, "You gotta meet me here and stop with these videos. I'm gonna fucking kill her." And I don't know.
That makes sense. I also think too, like he's crushed because he feels like he's not going to be loved anymore now that you have like the replacement.
It's almost
right?
over for him.
It is almost over, and not even in a sense like
that video's going to drop soon.
That definitely will drop soon, and even then, like it's just right now, like he's definitely doing questionable things, but he's still got some public support, and he's not terrified of that video or anything like that to garner more hate for him. Who's terrified of seeing Soldier Boy coming back to the picture and just getting all the attention, I guess, and pulling the plug away from him, because that's what he saw when he saw Soldier Boy in that video, and he just turned around and he starts panicking and freaking out, thinking like he's not going to be loved as much anymore, because that Soldier Boy is the OG, he's the original poster boy, right? So yeah.
Let's take our second ad break and we'll just keep talking about this shit, so we'll be right back. And we're back. So what about you, Jessica? Any thoughts on what Homelander might be doing next week? I guess, too, Taylor, you were saying something. I still think he'll have enough clout that he'll be able to spin what Starlight is saying as like a lie, but that's why I do think that video of the airplane's probably going to come out in the next 2 episodes, because that's going to like confirm to everybody. Anybody that has doubts, because even if they're trying to play up the whole like right-wing Republicanist white asshole thing with Homelander, once the video comes out, you can't. There's not much you're gonna be able to dispute of him like leaving these people and kids on a plane and like having Maeve leave, who we did not see Maeve yet. Everyone thinks she's dead, so that means she's not dead. She's somewhere out there. If everyone thinks she's dead, I think we would have got her by now. But what do you think is gonna happen next week, Jessica, with Homelander? And anything else on Homelander before we move on from him?
Yeah, I do think it's interesting. So we had that whole Green Goblin kind of moment, right? He's standing in the mirror talking to himself. And that's how this episode ends with him. Again, it's just back there, standing in that mirror, most likely talking to himself again. Just, once again, showing how close to really snapping he is. And this is, I've been talking about it the whole time, that he's got to snap. And, yeah, this is exactly it. Was beaten down to the point he had to run. He's never had to run from anything. He's now had his social standing between, freaking out on that TV show and then having Starlight come out and say all this. And then, as we've talked about here, kind of the video is definitely going to be leaked as well. I think we are going to have him snap very shortly. I wouldn't be surprised, actually, if it is next episode, just based on what happened in this one, this fight and everything going on. I think there's a very real chance that next episode he's going to go quite far off the rails. And then
like kill Starlight's mom off the rails, or do you have like a specific kind of idea?
Well, you could still kill her mom and not go off the rails, though, because that could look like an axe, and that could look like something. I think go off the rails is not exactly what we saw last season in that dream sequence where he snapped and like blew away all the innocent people with his laser eyes, but something like that. And I guess it's just a question of what's more appealing. Do you have him snap next week and then the finale be, oh, they're dealing with that, or do you have him snap in the finale and that's the big cliffhanger for the next season? I think I still lean that way, because then you'll have the whole year of people talking about like, fuck, what are they gonna do with Homelander? Because Homelander's up, they're not gonna kill him next, like this season. I don't think there's way too much still left on the table, so maybe you'll get like a semblance of a snap next week, but I think they're gonna hold off for the big one. Watch, they might not even do it. They still might just get us to the really brink of it, because last season it was looking really like when fucking Ryan was popping off, like I did think, oh man, Homelander's, he's gonna snap here, but even then he still has that twitch too when he's about to do news. His face is like bugging out and stuff. He's just losing it. He's almost lost it. So.
Well, yeah, that girl on the roof, right? Just done saving people, jump. I'm not suggesting it. Like, I'm telling you. I don't know if I could put my finger on one way or the other, if I think it's going to be next episode or the finale or waiting for next season for that snap. But it's got to be close. I feel like we've been building up to it for, 3 seasons.
Oh,
really.
yeah. But that's a good thing. Like, they can do, like, even if they don't do it this year, it'll still feel justified because they got so much stuff going on. But yeah, we'll see. I guess we should actually talk. Oh, go ahead, Jessica. Do you have something else to add on Homelander?
I was just gonna say too, of something else that we haven't necessarily talked about, to my knowledge, is to his son. Right, that's got to come into play as well somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know if it will this year because I don't know if we have time, but I think next year it will. But I think Butcher calling him like a little piece of shit and everything, that was kind of like the write-off for him for a little bit, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say I agree.
Yeah, so plays into that whole Homelander's not going anywhere this season yet, because there's not time.
I still think we got Homelander till like season 5, the minimum. I still think you get a whole season of building up to taking him out, and even then you got even 2 seasons and stuff like that. They might even jail him before taking him out, and he can get out. It's just because, like I said, I haven't read the comics, I don't know, but I just feel like this show probably has at least 5 seasons in it, and I still feel like when you kill Homelander, that's gonna be the end game. Just because like I said, even Soldier Boy, like I like what they're playing him up to be. Like, he's kind of what at least I expected from all the promotional stuff we saw. I was like, oh, they're going to do Captain America, but bad. They're going to do where, what if Steve Rogers woke up and he wasn't like I'm fighting for everybody. Man, woman, doesn't matter your sexual orientation, skin color. Like, I'm just here for the people of America. Or Soldier Boy, like, his whole episode, he's questioning, like, why is this happening? Right? He's like, the people in America passing laws right now. He's like,
men are weak.
yeah. We used to do all this shit. It's just like, oh man, like you are exactly like, he's definitely gonna go down the villain route. It's like he's already pretty much there, but he's just gonna work with Butcher and Huey to get what he wants. And then once Payback's gone, that's kind of the bad thing, because it feels like they kind of have him on a leash until that happens. Because when he's like, oh, you need the internet and tracking IPs, and like, you're making up those words. So that's the problem, though, that once Soldier Boy is around our world long enough to start to get it and realize stuff and figure it out, and he doesn't need Butcher and Huey, that's when the shit's really gonna start. And that's where I don't know if he'll be, like I said, worse than Homelander. I don't think so, because as we saw, as of right now, Homelander could still take him in a fight as far as like a 1v1. But Soldier Boy's definitely not. He's not someone to trust either. It's gonna go. It's already, I'd say, gone bad, but it's gonna just get worse and worse with Soldier Boy and his attacks and everything.
Have they been greenlit for season 5 as well, or just season 4?
No, just 4. But I think they will. I honestly think they'll get to go as long as they want, unless they're like fucking Walking Dead. It's gonna go like 20 years. Well, I shouldn't say that, because Walking Dead got to go 20 years or whatever it is, and they got like 3 spinoffs coming. So as long as you got people tuning in, they're gonna say yes, and I think they will at The Boys. They got the budget too. So, any thoughts on Soldier Boy, or should we move on to something else?
I'm just really digging this character. I'm excited to see where this goes and concludes.
You're digging the character, Taylor, huh?
I'm digging the character. Like, he's really, really funny. Like, just his like, he's definitely um, from a time period that does not mesh at all with the time that the show is in now by any means. But no, I dig the character as that. What if Captain America was literally just a piece of shit? I don't know why it's just so entertaining just to see this, and I think it's because it's more entertaining. And that's why I think The Boys is doing so good right now, is because they pick that moment when there's already such a rich established universe of superheroes that we've been exposed to, and now having over a decade of this goody Captain America, I can do this all day, and then his boom, the equivalent, it's just shit. Like it's hilarious. So
Well, and that's Homelander too, right? He's just
Absolutely.
What if Superman went bad? Like
Yeah.
that's Superman and Soldier Boy are that quintessential team guy. One
Yeah.
day we'll have to get our bad Batman in there. I'm not sure who that's supposed to be, but maybe one day we'll get the asshole world's greatest detective. But
Isn't it? I thought they were like Black Noir was kind of like gauged to be that.
yeah, but Batman still talks and he's like smart and stuff. Black Noir, he might be smart, but we haven't seen that, But who's not smart is A-Train, because A-Train we find, which I still, I'm sure it says in the comics. Maybe I'll look it up one day. I don't care that much because I don't want to be spoiled, but still never got like what Blue Hawk's power was. He's just always wearing that helmet. And again, we'll talk about the orgy in a second. Be careful if you search Taylor. You might find some spoilers on there or something. The weirdest stuff can come.
He has superhuman strength.
Oh, what a
that's
generic
basically
power.
it.
Okay, whatever. So there you go. Well, he showed that off. So we talked about that last. We talked about a few things where his brother, A-Train's brother, was in the hospital now. As Ashley said, a horrific accident. It's like an accident. He's like hitting all the people that lived in my community. Like he's beating them up.
He felt like he was being attacked.
Yeah. One, I think I showed her last week, but as the show's gone on, it's so funny. I'd seen her only in like Jessica Jones. She played this like shitty character in a good way as a shitty character. But man, the girl that plays Ashley, she's always one of my quiet MVPs of the show and the episode. Anytime she's in, I'm really entertained. Her character's growing, getting more screen time. I love when she just bitched out A-Train, because like there's two things about that scene. One, I loved the callback to her like pulling out her hair gets her sexually aroused, because we saw that at the very first episode when she was fucking that direct in the bathroom, and she's like, pull my hair, and he's like, I am. She's like, no, pull it out. And when that happened, obviously
I
they got her going.
hate that stuff. That scene.
It's so good though. And then when she pulls out her hair, like, because I had to rewind. I was like, what the fuck happened? When she's fighting with A-Train, like she's twisting her hair, and then she slowly gets around her fist, and when she pulls it, and she just like has like a mini orgasm spot. Then she gets back to the conversation. She's so good at just like this wacky stuff. But exactly, and this is where the show's so good. The writers know what they're doing. She's like, all of a sudden you care about doing the right thing in justice. Why? Because this happened to you. It happened to your family. Look at all the shitty things you've done before. And it's exactly what you and I and everybody talked about last week, as far as how can A-Train be redeemable? Like all this bad shit he's done, he's never really said sorry. And I love that and I don't think he's like fully redeemed yet, but I love the combination of Ashley calling him out on his shit finally, and Huey just demanding an apology, and now A-Train finally realizing, like, man, maybe I have been I have been a terrible person this whole time, and look what happened when I lost someone close to superheroes being careless, right? That's what Blue Hawk was. He was being careless. He hit his brother. Same way as A-Train. A-Train technically didn't mean to kill Huey's old girlfriend, but he was being careless about it, right? And that's how it happened. So that's where I love that. I was waiting for this. Plus, we still got the death of Supersonic, which I think is still messing with him, because him and Annie had that quick scene together, and it still feels like he's like a little regretful that choice. So I don't think he's dead. I know they tried to do that zoom up of his eyes were open and he was not moving and stuff. I still think he'll be saved, because I actually would be disappointed if he's dead. I don't know if you can fully redeem him, but I like what they're doing as far as they're addressing every concern we've had about A-Train, and I still think his death is doing even a bigger sacrifice. But man, just grabbing Blue Hawk and just running through the fucking streets with him, what a way to go. What a way to die in this fucking world. But for the first time, I've liked some stuff, but I loved what they did with A-Train. I'm really excited to see what they do with his character if he is around, because I do think he's alive.
I think he has to be alive. Unfortunately, just on the fact that, can you think of any death that hasn't been pretty much brutal, disgusting, explosions of blood and gore, really?
Well, it's not that it's not blood and gore explosion, but I just think this one would be brutal. Like, I think this one would be terrible to go through if you were the person getting
You'd
like,
feel it for at least a mile.
I don't know for a mile. I'd say at least for 30 seconds, and then you'd probably be knocked unconscious. But I still think those 30 seconds would be fucking terrible. Your skin and bones are getting ripped to shred by concrete, and oh my god.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah, that death would be terrible for sure, but I don't think A-Train's dead is what I mean.
Oh, no, I don't think so. I just think they're trying to make us think, like, with that zoom out. I don't think so. And I just think, too, I still think there's a bigger role for him to do. If they didn't do all this sort of groundwork, like, laying with Ashley and Huey, and he, like, died here, then I could see maybe. But I think he has more to do with the story.
Were you implying that if they're going to kill off a hero, they're going to make a big, bloody, gory mess of it?
Yeah, they do it with everyone.
Yeah.
Humans and soups. You know, really, I think the only one would be when Stormfront died and we see her body being carried out. But even then, we saw her completely just...
Sorry, I have a reminder for something. There you go.
completely just, you know, burnt to a crisp and given hand jobs off the bed, right?
I was going to say, yeah, she died like that way, but how she got there was not pleasant. You know, she's like lasered to shit and everything, so
I couldn't see A-Train being the one exception to just having someone fall over and die.
No, I don't think so. I think he's going to go out in a brutal... He might go out like a newly found hero, but I think he'll get a brutal death.
Heart explosion. Heart explosion for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think Homelander will fuck him up. I think Homelander's going to kill a lot of the Seven eventually. I think, even though Maeve's not dead right now, I think that'll happen. And what about you, Taylor? Where are you on A-Train this week?
Well, it's been so long since we've seen him move and run. So yeah, when he actually gets just emotionally compromised and just does this, it's like, holy fuck. Like, in terms of murdering Blue Hawk, you pick the best time to go and do it because there's so many other dead bodies at this time. Like, it's gonna be skeptical why there's just this dead soup in the middle of the road over here who was clearly dragged across the pavement for so long. But I'm just interested to see the fallout of that and what's gonna happen, and not just his health, but what kind of resolution Ashley will have with this, because they seem to be continuing this relationship between the two of them where she's just dealing with the bullshit of him trying to connect with his roots and stuff like that, and he's trying to push that on her, and yeah, she's fucking ripping her hair out, which fuck, that scene with A-Train when she does it, his face just really fucking cracked me up. Like, what the fuck?
Well, because he has no idea. He doesn't have the context we do, so it's just
yeah.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see where she goes, because I feel like she kind of goes back and forth every week of like Annie was kind of getting through with her, but then she pulls away, and then sometimes she's like fully on the Vought side. So yeah, I'm interested to see what happens. Chris Balg says if the Deep's going down, which I hope he is, he needs to have a really brutal one. Yeah, I agree with that, because I think A-Train, there is a redemption story. I don't think there is with the Deep, and I don't even know if there's one I really necessarily want with the Deep. I think it could be a situation where he cowardly helps out our heroes, but still will get something done to him. But yeah, he couldn't help himself. He was sent there on a mission from Homelander, and he found a water tank. And again, man, this guy, he just has a thing for octopuses lately, and
he took it with him.
He took it with him, yeah, in the bag of water. And I love when he's running. The guy, he's like, "Now's not the time. Like, stop talking," and stuff like that. But yeah, the Deep is but he's gonna be exposed. He's gonna be exposed for a freak, and I think his wife's gonna leave. He's ready to divorce his wife already, because they keep fighting each episode, and I think he doesn't want to be controlled anymore. But I just don't know what's gonna happen to him once this stuff comes out. Like, maybe people just assume that he fucks fish already. I don't know, but I just, obviously there probably will be more. And yeah, I like they still try and get back in Homelander's good graces. He's like his go-to guy now, and he feels like he's Homelander's go-to guy, even though Homelander clearly thought that was Black Noir. So there's definitely a miscommunication there. But yeah, I think sending the Deep to a hero orgasm orgy party was not the right call. You know, like that's setting him up for failure right there. I feel like he's gonna get in some shenanigans, which there was a lot of shenanigans at this thing. You know. Mm-hmm.
I mean, he did call Homelander, so
that's true. He wasn't on his best guard, though. He got a little carried away, you know. So
I do think that you know, that picture will play some big part in wherever his arc goes, whether it be blackmail or just getting, you know, Homelander to turn for some reason, whatever it is, that pitcher's gonna have a big part.
Well, you know what had a big part was,
Love
Annie,
sausage.
Annie, I was gonna get there. Yeah, Annie and Marv, how we because we haven't talked about. We'll also talk about it now. They knock on this door, and obviously we've heard about this for a while. It's the name of the episode, but they've heard that they're going to find these twins in Payback, and they're at the 17th or 70th annual, whatever it was. It's weird because I think they said 17th in the show, but the Amazon subscription said 70th, so I think it was actually just 17, but the Amazon synopsis kind of screwed it up there. Either way. This thing called Herogasm, a bunch of, I like that they said C-rate heroes, not even the top tier heroes. The C-rate heroes get together and they just have massive orgies where they are using their powers on one another for pleasure. We saw everything from people using their electricity powers to shock each other's nipples. We saw, again, a little person clearly be lubed up and going into some certain situations.
It was the same little person.
I thought it was the same little person.
Oh, yeah. For some reason, I thought he died. No, right? Because he didn't kill him, Butcher. Right? Okay, right. He just got coked out of his mind. So he was all lubed up, and poor Marv, he just got destroyed by the lube on his jacket. We're going to talk about what else he got destroyed by. And then you had just heroes all over wearing masks.
Ice dildos.
The ice dildo. That was, which I don't even know, I guess it'd be a sensation you might want to feel. I feel like that would eventually not be pleasurable after all. I know ice can be a thing, but ice to that amount, to that big amount, I don't know.
And it wasn't like foreplay. That was you could hear the sound effect. It went in. I'm pretty sure there was steam, mist or something. Oh,
yeah. Love Sausage. He made his reappearance from where last season he was in there. And then, poor Marv, he got just doused by we did not see what was behind the door, but someone with a massive penis just splooged all over him. And man, a bad place to be. And there was just scene after scene after scene. And I think it, like I said, it's not as crazy as some of the other stuff we've seen as far as the penis or the guy in the penis or the face sitting one, but it was just scene after scene. I love that there's all this dramatic stuff going on, and there's just all this fuckery happening behind them.
That's why I went with this nickname, because it's just such a slight whisper after Marv opens that door and oh, yummy brown bear. Oh fuck, this poor goddamn guy. Jesus Christ.
What did you think of this scene, Taylor? How are you glad you weren't watching it with your mother, like the Homelander stuff last year?
Oh yeah, this is definitely a watch alone at 1 a.m. kind of a scene for sure. Because I knew we were getting to it. All the people kept arriving at the house, and I thought this was just gonna get wild. And you see forced telekinesis and women just collapse walking in the room because they just can't handle it. Just some crazy shit and everything, and just it's seeing M walk through there, and the fucking little dude, cause his reactions just sold me. The little guy just brushing his jacket, there you go, pal, and he's what the fuck did this fucker rub up this shit on me? Just freaking out, and I need to get to a bathroom and everything like that. It was so hilarious, and all these second-rate heroes, that they're all cannon fodder. C tier, yeah. They're all cannon fodder. They're all meant to be disposed of, even though trying to get people out, they're all gonna go kibosh. So yeah, it delivered. Seeing the deep as well, knowing, oh fuck, here he goes. Timothy he's with this new octopus, and it's so fucked. I've never thought I would ever be in a position where I could watch a show like this, and I keep seeing things that I didn't realize that I'd ever witness.
And the shrink guy is dead now, right?
Oh yeah,
Homelander stepped on him. Terrible sound effect, in a good way. Just that crunch. It's oh god, that's every bone in his body. Just go.
His name's Termite, so it is fitting. Yeah. For both of you, I guess I'll just ask both of you at once. Do you wish that you had the AB function for any of this?
Well, not nowadays. I'm a grown man now, and I can, luckily, I don't have to worry about getting action.
They got the 10-second rewind and fast forward buttons now.
If there's any kids with their Amazon parent subscription, and the boys definitely has to be banned, because the boys would the sex scenes that I saw as a kid don't compare to anything like what you get with the boys. I feel happy for men and women, or boys and girls, of the that coming of age story. The internet for them.
Oh, they're
yeah,
coming.
Exactly. Me, you had to hope you'd download an internet porn video and you're not going to get a bunch of viruses. Now you just search a site, and the tip of your fingers and the tip of other things, you just have millions upon millions of videos. So yeah, The Boys, yeah, A and B would have been great back in the day. But I don't know. It depends the age when you've seen it, because it also would just be a lot of fucked up shit where you're just like, wow, this is tons of kinks that you don't even know exist. Yeah, tons of things that you don't even think would be possible. So
I'll be honest. So obviously there's a lot. There's a lot to unpack in that whole house. There's the just sorry, I'm thinking like fudge packing. A lot to unpack. It just my brain. Yeah.
well, the fudge packing ties into that guy's videos too. He had the fucking for some reason he
Camera
had
in
a
the
camera in the
toilet.
toilet.
The fucking undercarriage is shown.
And when Soldier Boy walks into the living room and they just pause on like a guy's asshole and his balls and dick hanging over the toilet, and they're having this serious conversation while there's just balls and dick and an asshole right behind them. And that's what you love of the show, because they're literally talking about like, who sold me out, was a Black Noir, I'm gonna kill you. But there's just this fucking dude's asshole on the full like 80-inch screen. It's just
what does
like
he say? He's like walks in like, that's a nice shaft or whatever. He says something like that.
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So anyway, there is a lot of things like that, and a lot of dicks, a lot of everything.
Oh yeah.
But I almost expected it to be worse, if that makes sense. I just felt like there was so much hype, and the warning at the beginning saying, this isn't suitable for anyone. And in that sense, it almost felt tame. I almost expected more. That being said, though, I do agree, the sound effects for a lot of things and the special effects, there's a lot of moments where they definitely invested some money in making sure that things were going on, and there is a lot going on in almost every background scene. Whether that's someone's nipples are being electrified, or like Taylor said, the sound effects of the icicle, the floating starlight vibrator going around the room in the background. Yeah. So, there was a lot. I don't know, maybe I'm alone on this, but I actually thought it would be worse based on the warning and the hype.
Yeah, I could see that. It worked for me, I guess, from a comedic standpoint. But I would say, like, if you're talking about things that topped it, there were funny stuff. But I would still put, as I've always said, like the head from season 1, like the head sitting scene as that, and then the penis thing we just got a couple episodes ago. I don't know if that penis thing happens in the comic book, so if it does, I understand why they did it there. If it didn't, they should have saved it maybe for here, because I think that was just when you start episode 1 with Turnip going or Termite going in this man going in this man's penis. It's like you can't top that. But it definitely felt like it was worth it. Did it go above expectations? Maybe not, but it worked for me as far as like comedic and all the things that we were getting. As far as like, I didn't think I'd be seeing a icicle dildo, but I did. And it's like, oh, okay, there you go. It's not the craziest thing, but when I still think about it, I'm like, now I guess that's also just The Boys now. We're 3 years in The Boys. Maybe that's why. It's just like because we've seen so much shit already, and icicle dildo seems tame. But really, if you're telling me 3 years ago I'd be watching a show where a superhero used a fucking icicle as like a glass dildo, I would be like, that's not a thing. Like how that, and even then I still think how they get away with some of this stuff of not being N17 and stuff. They don't care because it's streaming. But
that one quick scene, like you guys touched upon it briefly earlier, but when Huey's walking and that guy just comes up, doesn't say anything, puts his hand on Huey's shoulder, and he's just, I guess, using psychic abilities, like, oh no, my asshole, it needs a break, So the guy like does this like sympathetic nod to Huey, like, I hear you, bud, like, yeah.
There's some good consent going on in the sea soup orgy.
Yes.
Well, you have to. That's always a rule in these things. Like, you got to usually be clean tested. You got to do that. Like, you can't be carrying any things. There's always a set of rules you're getting before. You're usually dropping your keys in bowls and things like that.
You know all these rules.
This is that's a story for another time. But like there's always things to it and things like, and especially because this is the 17th one. There's definitely Soldier Boy apparently started it. That's what he said. I started this fucking
back
thing
in 53 or whatever.
So then it would have been 70 years.
Okay, then I swear, and then I must have just heard someone say 17th at some point, but they must have said 70th, and I
think
misheard it.
The comic book picture might have had a lower number.
Maybe it was 17th maybe it was the 17th time like the twins were like hosting it or something. Maybe that was it. But even if it was too many numbers, but
I did see online that if any non-soups attend, they do have to sign an NDA.
That makes sense. Yeah, yeah.
So,
At least they're
you know.
letting on soups, and I wasn't sure if that would be the case, but
Well, they
did.
let MM in because he just gobbles up the vagina.
Yeah,
Nom,
yeah,
nom, nom.
yeah. And Love Sausage was completely fine with that, even though that dick just kept wrapping around them and everything. And oh boy. Anything else? Talk about the Herogasm. Is there any character or plot points that we hadn't talked about? I'm gonna pull up my notes right now, but I think I hit. Talked about Black Nora. Talked about Majin. Talked about Ashley. I think Ashley would have liked Herogasm. I wish she would. I wish she was there. I hope one season she gets there, and there has to be some hero that like can pull hair really good. So.
You know who else should have been there?
Who?
Frenchie. He would have loved it.
Not now, though. I feel like he's getting the straight and narrow eventually, because that's what she was saying, right? His ex was like, "Oh, he loved the hard shit, and would make him even harder." And everything.
But that was like the joke, right? We got it
Yeah.
from Butcher and whoever else.
Oh,
MM.
right. Yeah. They kept saying that. Oh, I wish Frenchie could have saw it. Yeah, but it is good. Like, you talk about season 1 where how far he's come. It's like, I can't even imagine this Frenchie there now. Like, him enjoying that. Like, he's such a softie, which is not a bad thing. But, he's just helping Kamiko shower off some blood because she was covered after she killed that dude. She was just, like, all over. Hair was dripping. I just looked at it. It's like, oh, my God. Imagine that much blood and just, like, a full head of hair like that. Oof. Not good. Not good at all.
I have some notes then if we're
Yeah,
moving
shut them
on.
out. Yeah, I got everything.
So one thing, Starlight has been the like end face of every episode this far.
Really? Okay, that's cool.
Interesting.
So that's something people are pointing out and wondering.
That's not a good sign.
Wondering what's going to happen.
That's not a good
there.
sign. Especially, too, because so much. I do think there's more story that you could do with Huey and Starlight, but the other story is that Huey still couldn't protect her, even with the V. And I think that might get him off the V, because that might show his whole point is, well, I'm on the V, so nothing bad happens to you. Okay, what if you're souped up and something does bad happen to her? And I think he might. Even maybe she doesn't die. Maybe she just gets very injured and she's comatose or something like that. Not like Stormfront, but maybe something like that. And maybe he views it as, if I would have stuck with her and done it her way, I could have saved her. So I don't think I do think if you're talking about anybody, the main characters on the chopping block now, I think it's, obviously her mom, but she has a good shot of biting the dust, or just something really bad happening to her, like a catastrophic injury.
Well, not to make it predictable, but they set it up in that way where he's in a position where, yes, he can't protect her, but that's when you have her take a hit, take a loss, and then he's got this whole recollection thing. You're like, oh God, what have I done? Like, I shouldn't have done all this and all that.
Mm-hmm. What else you got, Jessica?
I also have one thing that because we talked about Homelander during that fight. Butcher's face in that fight too, like he just looked so stoked, so crazy. I actually noticed his facial expressions more so than Homelander. I don't know if either of you picked up on it.
Yeah, there was that one scene where he had a little bit of blood in his mouth and he just had the ripest smile on his face. Like he was just enjoying every second of it. So you're definitely right on that.
I think they all work for me. I think the only one I didn't pick up much on is Huey in that scene, but I think Soldier Boy, Butcher, and Homelander are all going through like a great range of emotions and stuff. So, yeah, Butcher, good as always.
And then some of the comments in the hotel, Cosby used to make really strong drinks.
That was so good. He's like, that's a real man. And he's just like, oh, there's so much to unpack there. And yeah, he used to make those strong drinks.
Jesus
Again,
Christ.
just like, that was another, I'm like, man, I don't know if he should be going here, but that's what the boy's going to do. But, it still works because like Soldier Boy is technically a man at a time, so he still doesn't know anything about. So that's where you can kind of get away with it. But yeah, that was really, that's a real man, just like, oh, fuck, jeez.
Huey's reaction to that, again, just fucking sold it. Because, yeah, it was just like a solid 30 seconds of him just praising Cosby. And, yeah, Huey's just reaction is just like he's not going to be the one to tell him what went down there.
Yeah.
No.
Not at all. He'll wait till he figures out the internet for that one.
So, and then one of the other comments he did say, I don't remember what the exact words were, but it was something about Liberty, who was Stormfront's original name.
Yeah.
So, Not sure.
He mentioned because didn't he say he was like with her or something at the time? I thought so they
Yeah,
must have had
something
some
like
sort of
that.
relationship, and I could see that he was kind of blondie, blue eyes. Jensen Ackles could have been one of the first like ideas of potentially having her full front guy. Whoa! I just stepped on Buzz Lightyear, the toy. If you heard anything there, but no, that was good. I don't think they'll tie anything there. I think if Stormfront was still alive, maybe they could have, but I think obviously she's dead and Soldier Boy and the Homelander already want to kill each other, so
You don't think it'll play? I just think there's why bring it up if there was no reason for it at all.
that's true.
I think there will be something about it. Maybe Homelander killing her is, one thing, or dating her, or whatever it is. But I don't know. I do think that there had to be a reason to bring it up.
Yeah. No, you could be right. Yeah, it wasn't. It might not have been a name drop for no reason. So.
Then another one. It was interesting that Homelander confirmed that he was actually going to honor his deal with Butcher.
Mm-hmm.
Showing that Homelander actually did have kind of that honest humanitarian side to him. Because he's like, this is cheating, and that's when he attacks. So he was actually going to honor it.
Yeah. I agree, even though I think you could say that he's also just bullshitting because he's mad that he didn't get to turn on Butcher first. But I also think, I do think Homelander is telling the truth, that he thinks it was going to be down to them two at the very end and fight it all out. But it's just that's not much. For Homelander, he can easily keep that promise because, he can just fucking, without V, he can just destroy Butcher. I know Butcher would have tricks and all these things, but, yeah, and that's another thing too. Now, what does Homelander do if, obviously, I don't know if he doesn't know where Homelander's his own son is, Ryan, but he can still hurt one of the members of the boys or something. And that's where again, I don't think Kamiko or French are on the chopping block. It'll just be interesting to see when they get back in the throw of things here if they're going to be potential targets and stuff. But yeah, Homelander, he's going to have this huge list he's going to go down, and Butcher didn't keep the deal, But what was he supposed to do? He was supposed to keep the deal and just let everyone keep getting fucked over, classic Homelander, it's such a one-sided deal. I'm just going to run roughshod while you are, just sitting here waiting your time.
I do mean more so that it is just interesting that Homelander would even consider it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh, yeah,
he's just supposed to be
yeah.
such an asshole, such, an anti-hero. So even the fact that he would consider, to me, that's what stuck out more so than anything else.
Well, yeah, and they're kind of playing up that Batman Joker thing too, where almost Homelander, the only person he really has is Butcher, because he knows Butcher's is always going to be there, going after him. It's his yin and yang and stuff, so he feels a little betrayed that way. So I always love their dynamic, and I'm excited for them one time to sit down again and have a long conversation. I don't know when that's going to happen, but at probably when Homelander's about to die or something like that, or vice versa. But yeah,
I have one more thing, but before I do, what's that shadow of Taylor that looks like something holding a flag, or
it's
what
to
is
your
that?
right, Taylor, our left.
Yeah, on the back wall beside your Halo poster. Look in your picture, and oh, there it is. Okay, Assassin's Creed for the listeners. It's Assassin's Creed.
the one.
That's the one.
Okay, and then one more thing. So I came across this once again on Reddit, but it is interesting that they really fleshed out a lot more of kind of what Huey's teleportation is like. Mm-hmm. So, we learn now that he can teleport others by touching them. He doesn't need any type of line of sight, and he can teleport instantly. Homelander wasn't able to hit him with the eye lasers. Mm-hmm. And then also that he was able to just teleport in and punch Homelander immediately without even seeing or knowing what was going on. So that will kind of play interesting into him fighting if he doesn't have to necessarily know. He can just, I don't know, does he see while he's traveling, or how did he just teleport instantly and punching?
Yeah, I don't know if it works like a Speed Force, he's moving in slow motion, but I really don't know. He feels like Nightcrawler, but Nightcrawler that's all the way up to his power and everything like that. So I don't know if
that's
they're
what everyone's saying is Nightcrawler vibes.
Yeah. I don't know if they're, because Nightcrawler for a while, at the beginning, he always needed a line of sight. He couldn't bamf to where he couldn't see, but Huey can do that. That just shows how powerful that V is. But I don't know if they're ever going to fully explain how he can do it. Maybe if him and Annie were still together, maybe. But I think we're in the shit of stuff now. We might not get a quiet moment where he's like, yeah, when I teleport, I do this and this and this. But it's cool stuff, and it's good. You know, like I said, the V that was ready to go for army-wise. We're going to see the bad stuff, I imagine, after. But the actual power sets, like, they make him pretty strong. Like, Butch has laser eyes. He's going to Homelander. Huey's teleporting like a motherfucker. So
He took a hit from Starlight too.
mm-hmm.
So
Imagine shoot risky. Imagine if the powers wore off and just fucking killed Huey right there. She'd never recover.
just ran out right then.
Yeah, exactly. Just bad timing, you know.
Yeah, I think everything else we touched on. So that was my notes. Fun episode. Super happy about it.
Oh yeah. Anything for you?
Negative. I'm just super stoked that we have the penultimate episode coming up. Like, it's sad that the season's coming to an end, but just the fact that we've had such great content in these episodes, and The Boys is not disappointing. Continues to be an absolute legendary show, and I'm so happy that I'm happy because like you watched it initially and then you pitched it into the chat. I'm so glad I hopped on it afterwards, and just we've been kind of like we've stuck to it now ever since. It's one thing Kirklin needs to get on board with.
Maybe next year. I was saying that, Jessica. He was thinking about it for season 1 and 2, but now the longer he waits, the more of a hill it is to climb. You know, now 3 seasons.
It's the same with his video games. You know,
yeah, he's never gonna finish it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we will be here next week for episode 3. That one should be probably back to a regular Thursday, and then the finale though that'll be on a Friday. Sorry, Jessica, because Thor 4 is gonna be out, and we got to review Thor 4. So the finale we're going to wait a little bit on, but that's just a day. So are you questioning me, Taylor?
I'll just solo review it.
I wouldn't question your dates. I'm just inspecting.
All right. Well, we'll be back next week, and we promise you it'll not be boring.
Bye-bye.